Today, our next topic is levels of data independence. In before tutorial, we have done with like different types of what is independence and what are those levels. Today, we are detailing know about these levels of in data independence. Based on this data abstraction, there are two levels of data independence in database management system. Here, there are physical level data independence and the logical level data independence. This is an architecture of this how where it will be stored like external level and the conceptual level, physical level and data store. Here between this physical level and the conceptual level we are having this physical data independence, and the conceptual level and this external level, between that we are having this logical data independence. Yeah, physical data independence is the ability to modify the physical schema without causing application programs to be written, right? Yes. Yeah. An example of this data independence in DBMS is when a database administrator modifies the physical storage structure of the database, such as moving data to a different disk or changing the indexing strategy without affecting the application programs that use the database. Yes, yeah. Here, this logical data independence is concerned mainly with the changing definition of the data in a system or its structure as a whole. Yeah. Here, the differences of this physical data independence and the logical data independence is physical data independence is mainly concerned with how a set of data or info gets stored in a given system. In the logical data independence is concerned mainly with the changing definition of the data in a system or its structure as a whole, and we can easily retrieve it with physical data independence. In the logical data independence, retrieving is very difficult because the data mainly depends on its logical structure and not its physical location. Yeah. And achieving physical data independence is much easier as compared to the logical independence in the physical independence. Coming to the logical independence is more difficult as compared to physical data independence. And we are having these changes made at physical level need not to be at the application level in the physical data independence. In the logical data independence, any changes made at a time physical level need to be made at the application level as well. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, having this the internal schema is a primary concern in the physical data independence. In the logical data independence, the conceptual schema is the primary concern in it. For example, this alerting the compression techniques, storage device changes, and changing in the hashing algorithms. These are all made by this physical data independence. In the logical data independence, we can, for example, we can adding or deleting or modifying any attribute in a system. These are made by logical data independence. Yeah. See here, physical data independence can be defined as the ability to change the physical level without affecting the logical and conceptual level. Yeah, it gives us the freedom to modify like storage device, file structure, location of the database without changing the definition of that conceptual or view level. And here, for example, yes, If we take the database of the banking system and we want to scale up the database by changing the storage size and also want to change the file structure, we can do it without affecting any functionalities of logical schema. There are, yeah, changes that can be done with this physical layer without affecting the conceptual layer. Changing the storage devices like SSD, hard disk, and magnetic tapes, and changing the access techniques and modifying indices. And the next one is compression techniques or hashing algorithms. Yeah. Logical level data independence is the property of the database that can be used to change the logic behind the logical level without affecting the other layers of the database. Here, it's not affecting any other layers in the database, and this logical data independence is usually required for changing the conceptual schema without having the change like any external schema or application programs. It allows us to make change in a conceptual structure like adding, modifying, or deleting an attribute in the database. For example, there is a database of this banking system and we want to add the details of a new customer, or we want to update or delete the data of the customer at a logical level. Data will be changed, but it will not affect the physical layer or physical level on structure of that database. Some changes can be done this logical level without affecting any application program or any external layer. These are like adding, deleting, or modifying the entity or relationship, and this merging and breaking the record present in the database. Yeah, difference between logical data independence and physical data independence. Yes, this is what how logical data independence and the physical data independence as having physical schema in the physical data independence, and in the logical schema is presence of this logical data independence. Yeah, advantages of this data independence is data independence in database management system offers several significant advantages which contribute to the efficient management and maintenance of this database infrastructure. Here are some of the key advantages: flexibility, and this as application compatibility. It can changes like to the logical schema does not impact the any application programmers or any queries that relate to the database. It means like existing application can continue to function correctly even when the database structure changes, reducing the risk of any disruptions. Here, this data independence allows for changing to be made in the database schema without affecting the way data is accessed and presented to users. This flexibility makes it easier to adapt the database to evolving requirements and the business needs. Yeah. And the next one is disadvantages of this data independence. Yeah. It's essential to consider these potential disadvantages and limitation. It has complexity. It's like maintaining multiple levels of schema like external and conceptual and internal. To achieve the data independence can introduce complexity into database system. These complexities can make database design and management more challenging to run this. Yes, and this performance overhead, it is like implementing data independence like sometimes it result in performance overhead, and the added layers of abstraction between The logical and physical data can impact the query performance and data retrieval efficiency. And having this resource consumption, it's like managing data independence. It may require additional system resource such as like storage space and processing power to handle that various schema layers and translations between them. Yeah, and you're having this potential and redundancy. In some cases, data independence may lead to data redundancy when having different external schemas might require the same data to be stored in multiple formats and physical locations, which can increase storage and requirements to face all the challenges. Yes, these are the disadvantages of this data independence.